is a combination of things that is accurate and inaccurate. And I think the 9/11 Commission took that joint inquiry and those 28 pages or so and followed through on the investigation. And they came out with a very clear judgment that there was no evidence that indicated that the Saudi government as an institution or Saudi officials individually had provided financial support to al-Qaeda.
CIA Director John Brennan on NBC's Meet the Press yesterday, weighing in on the possible release of the classified pages of the 9/11 report, again saying it should not be released. However, current and former members of Congress argue that the pages do in fact show the existence of a Saudi support network for the hijackers involved in the 9/11 attacks. So who's right about this? For more, we welcome in from Newsmax Washington tonight, former director of both the NSA and the CIA, General Michael Hayden. The general is currently a principal at the Chertoff Group, and he is the author of the New York Times bestseller, Playing to the Edge. Mike, I appreciate your time tonight. And we have heard from the, it's great to have you, and Washington has almost as much political intrigue as there is intelligence we try to pick up from the rest of the world. When I heard last week the White House was weighing a partial release, here's what came to my mind. They'll block anything about Iran because of the nuclear deal the Obama administration just made, and they'll be happy to throw open a lot of information on the Saudis. Your take on that instant analysis?
Yeah, no, I understand the theory, JD, and frankly, if you want to look at what power in the Persian Gulf has done a lot to help al-Qaeda, it's Iran, which actually provided al-Qaeda a safe haven for multiple years for senior leaders in the al-Qaeda movement. With regard to the 28 pages, JD, and John's comment on it yesterday, my sense is that's probably pretty accurate. Now, personally, I actually think the 28 pages should be shoved out there. And if there are some sources and methods issues, they should be redacted. But by and large, the bulk of the document should be made public. And frankly, JD, I think it's going to act like a Rorschach test for the American population. People are going to read into it whatever preconceptions they brought to the issue. But I think it's better to get the data out there and end what has been really almost endless speculation about it.
And again, just to understand your point of view on this, Mike, the redaction should only deal with sources and methods, not information designed to play the political game of favoring this current crowd in charge over the one that you tried to help back in earlier years.
No. In fact, and the way you do that, JD, is you give it to the professionals and make them argue for redacting this and that and make them prove a case that really does have to be redacted to protect sources and methods, and then go ahead and publish it. And frankly, JD, I'm actually hearing noises that the Saudi Arabian government would like to get this over with too. Get it out there, publish it, and move on.
All right. This is an anniversary. It was 5 years ago today, a major anniversary. Our Navy SEALs stormed that compound in Pakistan where Osama bin Laden had been hiding and took him out. Now, 5 years after that, where does the war on terror stand right now? Are we still winning it, Mike?
Well, we're still fighting it, JD. And frankly, we're safer than we were prior to 9/11. We're probably not as safe as we were 1, 2, 3, or 4 years ago. It's actually been a bit of a darkening sky because of what ISIS has been doing. You know, JD, a lot of folks like me, on the night bin Laden was killed, I personally was put a little off balance by the strength of the public reaction, the celebratory mood. I think a lot of Americans felt a sense of finality about the war on terror. Nobody with my background, JD, had that feeling that night. They knew this was going to continue for a long time, and sadly, we were right.
All right. With the time that remains, let's discuss the turmoil in Baghdad. Over the weekend, hundreds of anti-government activists ransacked and occupied the Iraqi parliament in protest of corruption under the governments. Is the Iraq that was cobbled together in 2003 now coming apart, General?
Frankly, JD, I think the Iraq that was cobbled together after the First World War is coming apart. Look, this was an artificial creation of European diplomacy. It was governed by the Ottomans, and from Mosul, from Baghdad, and from Basra, kind of Kurdistan, Sunnistan, Shiistan. JD, I think the Iraqi state has ceased to exist. And we need to be looking forward to some sort of new, at least federal system, because I just don't think we're going to recreate the old unitary country we used to call Iraq.
So it'll break down along tribal and sectarian lines, a separate Kurdish nation, separation of the Shia and Sunni in your mind?
I think so. And look, that's not something that I'm favoring. It's not something I'm arguing for. I'm just suggesting, JD, that might be the best that we can accomplish. It may be inevitable. By the way, I don't think we get to put Syria back together again either. And so we are seeing a fundamental transformation of the borders that were created in that part of the world 100 years ago by Europeans, not by Arabs.
Let's bring it back home with the minute that remains. Reports today that the FBI foiled an attack on a prominent Jewish community center in South Florida. Now we hear from our Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, about ISIS sleeper cells in Britain, Italy, Germany. Mike, let me put it to you straight, 20 seconds. Are there sleeper cells here as well?
I don't know, JD. Europe has radicalized communities. We have radicalized individuals. I don't see the network here yet. That doesn't mean we won't see it sometime in the future, but so far, certainly not the kind of problem they have in Brussels or in Paris.
All right, General Michael Hayden, tonight from Newsmax Washington, we thank you for your time. Again, the name of the General's book, Playing to the Edge, American Intelligence in the Age of Terror. You heard what Mike had to say. Do you agree with him? Why don't you join the conversation? You can contact me via social media at newsmaxtv.com/comments or via Twitter, and your phone calls are coming up.